Please, if you have questions as I move on, just take it down. So towards the end of the class, we'll have the questions answered. So the first thing is understanding publicity. So before I go into this slide, does anybody want to tell me what you understand by publicity? Like, what does it mean to you when you hear publicity? What does it mean to you? Like, when you hear the word publicity, what jumps at you at the word publicity? I feel like John wants to say something.
Okay, I'll give it a trial. So I think publicity is how you draw attention, let people know that certain product, service, or brand actually exists. So you can leverage social media, ads, or even influencers, advertising on billboards, on TVs, all those things like that.
That's very correct. In our communications parlance, publicity is earned media. Earned media, what that means is media that you do not pay for. So naturally, let me use a practical example. There are some people that just find themselves on Tunde Ednot's page. Some people that just find yourself on maybe a Bella Ninja. You didn't pay for it. And maybe what you had posted is something that resonates with them. They feel like more people need to see it. So that's what earned media is. Or maybe there's something that you did and maybe a TVC picks it up or a CNN picks it up. So that's what earned media means. So in essence, publicity is earned media, authentic attention gained through positive actions, right? Not paid promotion. Paid promotion, on the other hand, is marketing. We'd also talk about that too as well. So what publicity does is it increases your visibility, makes you more visible to your target audience. I remember last year I talked about you understanding who your target audience are. If you understand who your target audience are, you know how to communicate to them. You know the kind of platforms to use. You know the kind of words to use. And you just pretty much know the kind of campaigns. We will also talk about that, in the course of today's class, to use to attract the right kind of people. Why it matters? Some businesses have grown dramatically from features and blogs, like I mentioned, some interviews, some from local news. This turns them into, turning it into credibility, into customer loyalty and profit. Imagine if you see yourself on a Bella Ninja, people would want to think of the fact that you are authentic, you're reputable, you're somebody who we should do business with, right? Let's just talk about some biblical principles in branding. Integrity and excellence are keys to a Christ-centered brand. So in as much as you're a business person, or in as much as you're an individual who has a work, be it business or a corporate job, integrity must be your number one, must be very key to you. And the book of Proverbs 21 verse 1 says, a good name is better than riches. We know that, right? So it's very important that in as much as you're building your brand, integrity must be number one for you. You mustn't be known for bad press, crisis, negative news. Integrity must always be your number one goal. Publicity rooted in truth reflects godly values and glorifies God through influence and impact. The next slide. So this next slide speaks to what publicity is, what it means versus what advertising and marketing means. So like I mentioned earlier, marketing are different components. So if I want to distill it down so we understand what marketing is, marketing are things that you do to ensure that you attract the right kind of people. It could be through campaigns, it could be through market storm, it could be through, you see people distributing flyers in traffic, it could be through running ads online. So it's just different things. And like I said earlier, it's important you understand who your target audience are. Understanding your target audience determines the kind of marketing campaigns that you run. Let me give an example. Can we use myself? Let me give an example. Let me use Coca-Cola, for example. I'm sure many of us know what Coke Studio is, right? Many of us know Share a Coke. You remember that Share a Coke campaign? What was Coke trying to achieve? I worked on that campaign, thankfully. What we're trying to achieve is every year, Coca-Cola, or let me say every business year, because it's not the typical January to December. So there's business calendar year. So every business year, there's usually a campaign slogan. So at that time, I think this was 2014 or 2015, it was sharing moments of happiness. That was the tagline. So how do you share moments of happiness? your school. So we would go with, there's usually an marketing effort, customize their Coke bottles to their name. By the time you see your name, oh, my name is there, my name is not there, you're sharing moments of happiness. You see people also during their weddings too as well, you're able to customize your Coke bottles. So my point is, Coca-Cola has been able to understand their target audience. You see them on YouTube ads, you see them on billboards, and guess what? Coca-Cola is over 120 years. And they've not said because people know the brand Coke. You know when you even go to buy soft drink, maybe it's not Coke you want to buy, maybe it's Pepsi. But the first thing that comes to your mind is, I want to buy Coke. Just like Close Up too as well. Maybe it's Pepsodent you use. But by the time you go there, the person selling is, you want to buy toothpaste, Abby? It's Close Up they will bring out. Why do you think that happened? It's a marketing effort. Consistency. That's why I always tell people, don't assume that people know your brand. If Coca-Cola is still investing today, if a brand like MTN that they say everywhere you go, you still see their YouTube ads, one way or the other, or a brand like, let me use a new generation brand, like a Money Point, you would always see their ads. So why do you now think, if those big brands are still consistently investing in marketing efforts, why do you now think you that you're just coming up, you don't want to deliberately take steps towards investing in marketing efforts? So that's what marketing is. The next one is advertising. So advertising, what this means is you pay for the slots. So it could be advertised. So there are different channels, different mediums of advertising. So you have out of home, which we call OOH. Out of home typically means your billboards, whether the digital billboards or the long ones like you see on law school wall, or like there are different just types of boards. So there are the digital boards and then the print boards. You also have advertising on radio. You have advertising on print, newspapers. You have advertising on online platforms like YouTube's, So they're just different things. There's TV commercials too now, just to be sure that we actually do understand what I'm saying. So the class activities, I want 1 or 2 volunteers, or let's say 2 volunteers, business owners. So you categorize what marketing efforts you've done or you hope to do, then what advertising efforts maybe you've done or you hope to do, and then what publicity efforts you've done and you also hope to do. So can I have volunteers too? Gideon, raise up your hand. Another volunteer, Gideon and someone else. Okay, and Joan, thank you.
Getting you. When Access Bank, because I didn't work with Access Bank, sorry, I worked with Access Holdings, and we had a lot of verticals under Access Holdings, and Access Bank happened to be one of those holding companies, and then we started Access Pensions. So I was part of the team that put together a marketing strategy to put Access Pensions in the faces of others, basically achieving top-of-mind awareness. That's one marketing efforts. Social media, ATL, sorry. We don't understand ATL, sorry. Technical language. Above the line, below the line, that's basically your TV, radio, press, and then advertising. For Access Bank, I know we ran a TV commercial last year in celebrating Christmas. That was part of the advertising that we did. And because I'm a music person, I would always tilt them towards the music angle. So we did a music video, recorded it in the studio. And then for publicity, there's good and bad publicities. Yeah. But we are always in the media for bad things at Access.
Like the most recent one about that guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we always have, but at the end of the day, whether good or bad publicity, you've earned it, and it will always find a way of turning to your good, because you're not just increasing your sentiments online, it's also letting people know more about the brand and putting you on the global stage. I hope I answered the question.
Yes, you did. Thank you. Can we please give him a round of applause? Thank you. Very good. Joan.
Sorry, let me give
T-Rise, right?
Okay.
Okay.
And that bad publicity can tank your shares as well.
Oh,
Like, it
yes.
doesn't always have good
Absolutely.
impact.
Yeah. Just like before you go, and I remember, I don't know if you follow this guy on Instagram. What's his name? He's in London. He married Adiola Solomon. Yeah. So he did a post recently about women. Maybe as a woman, you should take some time out to train your child. Work should not career like career women should sacrifice maybe their first 7 years, no work, and take that time.
Conference I did now, we had to send emails and all. But I think what I've really done is advertising. I've done some sponsored ads online. I don't know if what the next thing I'm about to say is under advertising or publicity.
Okay.
There are some organizations that have approached that, okay, let's partner together and all. And so in exchange for you bringing your people, we also put your own platform on our web application. And I also know that, okay, I've had some news media as well. I have a number of publications that were merit-based, and I also approach that, okay, let's on our web app.
But when you get feedback and then you get the data too as well, you then know what it is that they want. For example, now maybe if you started off as a food vendor and you started selling something like maybe rice and chicken, and then people will now, the feedback, they will now be like, why don't you add water to it so it's a complete package? I'm just using that weird example. I'm just saying that if you don't get feedback from people, you're not really sure you are giving value to them in what you're doing. Sometimes we just think that we just come up with different things and imagine that's what people actually need. But in most cases, it's not what they need. I also encourage people to do frequent surveys too as well. Like at the end of the year, something I do, even though last year I didn't do that, but like something that we usually would do. So we send them a form, and we have all these Google forms. So it's been like through the year. Are there products you would like? Are there channels you want us to communicate better to you on? Because there are some people that they are not email people. Some people that are WhatsApp people. There's some people that they don't like calls. Like someone like me now, I would rather you send me a message than calling me. Do you understand? So you need to understand the kind of target audience, the kind of customers that you want. So whatever services that you are doing to them or you're giving them is actually one that is valuable to them. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. The next slide is publicity strategies for your business. So in most times, you hear us saying things like unique value proposition, unique value UVP. Unique value proposition is, like I said previously, what value are you giving to that customer or to that business? What value are you actually bringing into it? Okay? So I would say that for a business, you must always, your mission and your vision statements are very important. So your vision, if you're doing a business and you don't have a mission and a vision statement, it's honestly, I don't know what you're doing. Because your vision is the value, is what keeps you going. Do you understand what I mean? So when you have a vision, for example, now let's say mission and a vision statement. Vision is the value, is what keeps you going. Do you understand what I mean? So your vision is to be the number one leadership expert, for example. Maybe to say in the next 5 years, I hope to be the foremost thought leadership person in Nigeria, for example. So whatever activity you do would then lead towards that. So every time when you wake up, you'll be like, okay, if I want to be the number one most sought after thought leadership expert in Nigeria, what are things I need to do? So having your vision and your mission statements helps you know what your unique value proposition is in one sense. So craft a one-sentence UVP that sets your business apart. Different things, right? Or let me even bring it more home. Brand like Chicken Republic, what are they known for? Affordable food, right? That's one. And now look at a brand like a Marriott Hotel. Don't they do food? But the copies will be different because they are attracting different kinds of target audience. For Chicken Republic now, easy meals, affordable meals. But for Marriott, you want something more elite, something more exquisite. So your text or your captions would definitely be different. So if you're looking at a Marriott Hotel or a Sheraton Hotel or Lagos Continental Hotel, you're using them as your own Their target audience, they are different. If you are calling some people, they will copy and then you just copy everything and then you are wondering, my marketing effort is not translating because you're speaking another person's language. It's not your own target audience. You must, as a brand or as an individual, it is that your marketing efforts or your The next thing is leveraging word of mouth. Like I said, customer feedback is very important. When you get feedback of people, it's easier for them to recommend you. Word of mouth, you don't have to pay for it. All you just have to do is, if you like my business, please encourage me or recommend me. You don't have to pay for it. So when we talk about marketing, people almost think that you must have money in your first business or your first business year or your second business year. It might take you a while, but there are little things, marketing efforts that you can do, and then as you scale up, you then begin to do the ones that are, that have cost implication to them. So it doesn't cost you anything to ask for referrals, to ask for word of mouth engagements, as well. I always tell people, like your immediate community, like we here as a church, that the people you meet, people you've done business with, if you like what I've done, no. So sometimes you don't even need to even tell them because they like the services, they will automatically recommend you. But, always take it a step further to just ask, can you please help me repost this? Can you help me share with your contacts? Can you help me share on your WhatsApp? It doesn't cost much to do that. That's also a marketing effort. Joan, you talked about partnership, right? So this speaks to partnership with, or partnering rather, with like-minded businesses, organizations, like in your own case too, as well. So it's also a publicity, it's also a marketing effort because you're bringing value, they are bringing value, they have their target audience, you have your target audience. By the time both of you come together, your own target audience are being able to interface with them and they likewise too as well. So what this does is, when you build partnerships with businesses that complement your brand or on joint events, co-branded content, it helps you to expand your network and your reach. Next slide, please. Next slide is from traditional to present in almost all the states, if not across all the states in the Federation. So I want to talk about businesses that have evolved from traditional media to digital platforms. Now I would say that, doing business or marketing or communication rather has become more accessible to us because with your mobile phone, you can do a whole lot with your mobile phone. So this is where digital platform comes into play. So for traditional media, we have things like TV, we have radios, we have flyers. For digital platforms, we have YouTube, we have Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, X, show that one again, Facebook. Then I'm just doing a comparison with what traditional media is versus what the digital counterpart is. So for one-way communication, in traditional media, it's just one way. They're talking to you. You can't give them feedback, right? But when you come to digital platforms, it's a two-way real time. So for example, if you post something, or if you go on Instagram Live, you're able to see comments, right? But on the other way, if it's a TV, they can't see the comments. Do you get what I mean? So those are like the differences between traditional media and digital media. So for traditional media, like TV, it's expensive. If you want to run an ad, it's very expensive. Let me use an example for not even an ad, to even get its placement. If you want maybe like a TVC or a Channels TV, if you want a Channels TV to come cover you and report 2 minutes, that 2 minutes is almost 4 million naira. Yes. That's for Channels. That's for Channels. TVC is still, I think TVC is like 1.8 or so. I think they reviewed their price. If you now want to talk about a BBC, just 2 seconds or 2 minutes is really expensive. Then using digital platforms like maybe your laptop, your phone, mobile phone, is what? It's affordable, right? And you get to reach a global audience. Then the difference between a traditional media and digital media for delayed feedback is because, like I said, how do you get feedback from TV when it's running? You might not necessarily get it immediately. But when you now come to digital platform, you have your instant analytics and insights, which is your Facebook, your Instagram. If you go to your Instagram handle, you're able to see your insights. What does insights mean? You see your demography, male, female, what time do they actually interact with your posts, where are they based, the country, their interests. So that helps you. So when you have that insight, you then know, okay, so if my target audience are people within the ages, even gives you their age range. Maybe people within the ages of 12, no, not 12, maybe like 18 to 40 or 18 to 60. They are the people that consume your content. Maybe they are usually active online on Monday mornings. So to break it down per day. So Mondays, it might be during peak time. Peak time is like 7 a.m. when they're on their way to work, 4 p.m. on their way back from work, or 7 p.m. So the insights online helps you know what you need to do better. So if we move to the next slide. So the next slide talks about choosing the right platforms. Okay, so like I said earlier, not every platform, you should not be on every platform. Because there is LinkedIn, because there's Facebook, because there's TikTok, does not mean you should start dancing on TikTok because everybody is doing it. Do you get what I mean? So imagine if you're a thought leadership person. What platform would you imagine you should be on? Does anybody want to try? Thank you. LinkedIn, YouTube, because why? That's where you see business-minded people, corporates, people that understand the language that you're speaking. If you're a lifestyle person, what platform? TikTok, Instagram, YouTube too as well, because you can do lifestyle videos. Facebook, because there are more communities on Facebook too as well. If you are a food person, a food entrepreneur, what network or what platform should you be on? Facebook, yes. Instagram too as well, because of videos. You can also be on LinkedIn, but what you'll be communicating on LinkedIn has to appeal to those kind of people. I saw a fish vendor. What she does is she sells fish in bulk. She exports. And she's doing so well on LinkedIn. So you just need to understand the platform. So she's not doing videos there. She's enlightening them, telling them the importance of fish in your meal. I'm telling you, when I saw it one day, I was like, this person is very brilliant. So you just need to understand the different types of platform, understand the kind of people that are there, they know how. So don't do, many of us, we used to do it. So the same content you post on Facebook, you post on Instagram, post on LinkedIn, post on X. Sometimes it's not always, you don't get the right kind of traction. Because people on Twitter, for example, which is X, their lives is very, if you have long caption, they've gone. Do you understand? So something short, something concise. If you put on Facebook, you have more communities there, so they might want to read your caption. If you put on Instagram, if your video is engaging, another thing for marketing efforts is the kind of content to use. Video contents are more engaging than text because that's the way our attention is. What we see is what resonates in our memories. If you start seeing texts that are boring, if you see pictures that are boring, you don't even want to, you just to the next. But if you see a video, maybe it's somebody that is dragging somebody or something, because it's a video and then maybe it's one gossip, you will want to at least click on it and watch it, and then you then decide, do I like, do I comment, do I share, or do I move on? But the mere fact that you saw a video, that one has pulled you in and you want to see what they are doing. So understanding the right kind of content, helps you choose the right kind of platforms too as well. So I've talked about Instagram, I've talked about YouTube, I've talked about Facebook, I've talked about X. There's also Pinterest too. Many people don't understand that Pinterest is a gold mine. Like most times when I want to come up with ideas, concepts, I go to Pinterest. There's just so many things. And it helps you pin your thoughts, you have your board. So maybe if you want ideas on maybe a look, it gives you inspirations. Maybe if you're trying to set up your room, your space. Okay, my space is, maybe I want a white space. So how do I style it up? Like Pinterest is just an amazing platform that people do not even remember to tap into. There's also WhatsApp Business too as well. For a business owner, I don't use it, but I know that people that use it, it's very, very good for selling. So I've talked about this, engaging. The next slide, please. Creating engaging content. So I'll stop on this slide. and then I'll just give room for questions and if there are things that you want me to elaborate on. So creating engaging content. In today's crowded digital space, simply showing up isn't enough. There are times when they will tell you must post 7 days a week, 3 posts, and all of that. But if you're just posting texts that do not resonate or content that do not resonate, then what are you doing? You're just making noise. You've not communicated. That's in communication terms, that's what we call it, is noise. Because you've not communicated. Because communication means it's a two-way thing. You get feedback. So feedback could be they liked it, they commented, they interacted, but there's no feedback. There's no nothing. Then you've not communicated. So call it noise in communication. So what you need to do is to ensure you create content that attracts, retains your audience, and is valuable to them, they can relate with and relate to, they can engage with. It's not just about just posting, just because our coaches online said you must show up and you must always post. It's not always like that in communication. So what are the do's for communication or creating engaging content? Number one is be consistent. So if you decide that what works for your brand is to post 3 times in a week, in those 3 times, maybe you've identified maybe Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, right? Just make sure that you're consistent. Because as you keep doing it, people will be looking forward to your post that, oh, it's a Monday post, it's a Wednesday post, it's a Friday post, or if it's a weekend post, depending on what works for you. So be consistent. And the next thing is use engaging captions. Ensure that you research to know what kind of things attract your target audience. The next thing, too, is tell authentic stories. People don't want to hear. Don't bobo people. Do you understand? And do not overhype what is not real. So some people lie a lot online, I'm sure we know. So be authentic. So tell authentic stories. Then you can mix things like quotes, testimonials, Q&As. Thankfully, Instagram has those features, where you can ask a question and people will say yes, say no. You can run polls. You can use your Instagram stories. If quotes is what works for you, And then also sharing behind the scene BTS is also a very good way to engage better with your customers, because that way it shows that you are real, you are authentic, they can follow through the process. Then don't oversell in every post. So even though you are trying to sell, but every day it's come and buy, come and buy, come and buy, come and buy. Also add value to them too as well, why they should buy from you, or enlighten them. So for example, it could be you just enlightening them if you're a food vendor, telling them how to eat healthy meals, or maybe selling like food, what do they call this thing again? Food, maybe recipes. Some people are so busy, they know how to cook, but coming up with recipes, or like a calendar, or food calendar. Okay, in the morning you eat this. So if you give them those kind of content, they know that you're not just after their money, even though you know that you're after their money, but don't make it look too obvious. So try to do that too as well. Then finally, don't post only promotions. Like I said, always add value. So the next few minutes, I would like to take questions. If there are questions, if there are clarifications that you would like for me to share, I'm happy to do that. Have we understood everything I've been saying so far? Okay, let me test us. What is the difference between marketing and publicity? Okay. Okay.
Okay, so I have a question. Good morning, everyone. Earlier, you spoke about Coca-Cola and MTN. You gave them as practical examples of how they invest in marketing as big as they are. How would you classify? So St. Louis sugar is a kind of sugar that, those cube sugars, you find it in hotels. Even personally, I don't eat sugar anymore, but when I used to, I would buy that particular brand, and I don't see them marketing or publicizing about their brand. How do you classify that brand?
Okay, so because St. Louis has been around for so many years, for donkey years, they've been able to build what you call brand acceptance. I think by the time when they started, I'm not sure they had competition at the time when I'm not sure they had competition. So they were able to, they were like first first market play advantage. That's what helped them. That's what I would say. And over time, when you think about cubes, what comes to your mind is St. Louis. And for them, I think they've been able to build consistency too as well. You hardly see people complaining about the brand. Do you understand what I mean? The same way it has been then, the same way it is now in terms of value, in terms of quality, it's been like that. So there are some brands, which is why I said, understanding your niche and understanding the kind of brand. For them, it could be, maybe they do, I don't know if they do stakeholders, engagements within their organization too as well, but that does not mean they are not doing things. They are doing things, but they're not just in our faces. So there are things that people do subtly. You engage with your stakeholders. Who are your distributors? That's the way of you interacting with them. But coming out full-fledged doing advertising, it might just be their value as an organization. But it does not now mean, if they were not, trust me, if they were not selling, they would have closed. But they knew that advertising is not their own strong, but it's not a focus for them. There's some brands like that. They would invest in maybe their staff, their stakeholders, their expanding their expanding network of their distributors. Do you understand what I mean? So if it's not working for them, they would have closed up. But because they know that this is their own niche, they had the first movers advantage. I'm sure that's what they've been doing over time. Okay, another question from Gideon.
So it's not a question per se. It's just to buttress what you just said. Like she said, first mover advantage. Also, before St. Louis introduced cube sugar, there was no cube sugar. It was just granulated sugar. Sorry, is it granulated they call it? What's your name? Yes, okay. That's so they decided to put it into cubes, and Nigerians had never seen cube at the time. Now, if you decide to sell cement and put cement in cube, you would enjoy first mover advantage because you'll be the first to do that, and people would patronize you. Like now, when people buy what they call it, insecticide, they will tell you, go and fleet your room. But fleet is actually a brand, right? So everybody go and fleet your, instead of spray your room. So that's in addition to what she said.
Okay. Does anybody have any other question? Okay, one more question. Tell me jokes.
Good morning, everyone. So my question is around like crisis management. So I think I've seen brands that, there's a crisis, there's an incident, and because of the communication plan, or for example, they have like a draft template on just how to address things. And then I've also seen clients that will tell you, no matter what happens, we have people that, they will push a different narrative and, just to manage perspective. So is this something we're also looking at, maybe discussing around how to turn bad publicity into, yeah.
If you can scroll down, please. There's a slide on, let me check it out. That's what we're going to do next week, responding to criticism, managing negative publicity. So next week, that's what we're going to talk on. It's, in fact, I don't even know if we'll be able to extend or exhaust all that there is to negative media or crisis management. It's just a whole lot. So yes, we're going to talk about that next week. Any more questions? Let's have 1 minute more before the end of the class. Okay. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you all next week.